How was Suge Knight and Dr. Dre relationship when you first joined Death Row?
Um, well, for me, I guess it was cool. You kind of could feel that Dre and Suge was in charge because those were always the names they brought up. But I can't really give you a lot of accounts where I seen them in interactions with each other a lot. Maybe a couple of award shows, some private parties and events and things like that. But Dr. Dre really wasn't the one to be up at Can-Am studio like that. You know what I mean? If Dre came up there, the way was cleared for Dr. Dre. Meaning, what I was doing up here yesterday, you're not going to be doing today because Dre coming today. So there wasn't many times that you could say that, oh, I was in the studio with Dre. I could count on my hands how many times I was in the studio with him.
The 1995 Death Row Christmas party. Tell me about that.
That's one time I remember Dr. Dre being there. I just remember Dre being there and a guy, before the performance, because there was some big time performers coming. But this one guy, I think that was from Bad Boy Camp, came to the party. Don't know why. But it was said that they kind of beat his ass a little bit and pissed in his shoes, took his jewelry.
Yeah, I heard that. Is it true that they forced him to drink urine?
I don't know if they forced him to drink urine, but I know a couple occasions Suge would make you kind of walk and piss. Like pee in your shoes and make you walk in them and make them as you walk down.
And they made him do that?
I mean, some people did it. I've seen people do it. He had to do. So I don't think he made him drink pee, but I think he walked in it. I think Suge went into a record company and did the same thing. When he was trying to collect some royalties, he made an A&R walk in some pissy shoes. You know that sound, right? When you get water in your shoes?
Yeah, that
and in your socks, and you got that. It's pretty funny.
Right.
It's a pretty funny sound. I've heard that sound before.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah, Suge would do silly shit, man. The man, too many movies.
When did you first hear or see friction between Suge Knight and Dr. Dre?
I first started hearing friction or seeing kind of Suge and Dre falling apart. You would kind of hear it a little bit around, and Suge would make his jokes. Pac was kind of upset around this time, but Dre wasn't showing up to the studio and wasn't really. I think Pac wanted more support from Dre as far as for everybody on the label. He felt like Dre wasn't showing up to the studio and wasn't really putting in what he should be putting in, and so even with that, you would kind of see like Suge say certain things, and then the song. That's when I kind of realized for myself what song. The song when Teddy Riley and Blackstreet made the song No Diggity. We went in the studio the next day after Suge played it. I think Jimmy Iovine probably given Suge the song. And we went in the studio the next day and made a song just like off the same track. It's actually what we recorded Toss It Up to the first time. And somehow or another that track was ceased and desist. And Demetrius Shipp and Reggie, one of those guys, a couple guys came up with the song Toss It Up, the track to it.
So you was around Tupac when he would make comments about Dr. Dre?
Yeah.
So go into detail about that,
It's really not a lot because Suge always was like and I'm saying Suge because I can't really account to Pac. Pac had a problem with Dre not being around and supporting the artist more than anything and being up at the studio and putting in the time. That's what I would always hear Pac say. But Suge always have jokes to say about people. You hear she'll call, the faggot and stuff like that, things that he would say about Dr. Dre, but not too much. Not until that time, until we made the song No Diggity, and then Pac started saying as fruity as his Alizé and all of those things. But that wasn't really a big thing of Pac walking around or everybody walking around. When you heard Dre was leaving, for me, I was surprised. It was like, damn, Dre gone.
So take me through that, when you first heard that Dr. Dre was gone and all that.
Well, you kind of heard it everywhere that Dre was leaving and wasn't no longer around. And I kind of knew it because Michel'le seemed to be clinging closer to Suge during that time. Dre was departing and Michel'le was still kind of like over here. And, you know, you would understand that, you know, at that time, Dre and Michel'le had a child together. So you would kind of think, wow, she gonna go with her baby daddy, but that didn't happen. And then for me being up under Suge and knowing everything, I kind of was there knowing when that Michel'le and Suge relationship kind of unfold. I don't know if that was the beginning of it, because hell, they known each other way before I known Suge. But I kind of knew their relationship then, and I knew at that point when they said Dre was gone, and you kind of seen, you know, me helping Suge around with little sneak sessions with, you know, go take this to Michel'le and da-da-da-da-da-da. You knew it was an end for Dre at the label. When it was concretely said, like right when it was about to be said, you know, I had noticed that Suge had me doing a lot of things, you know, or he had been doing a lot of things. Like Michel'le had a townhouse like right around the corner from Can-Am. And sometimes she would get drunk in different places. We would go pick her up and tuck her away to sleep. She was so drunk. Put some water on her, take her ass upstairs. And she would go up there and he would put her in the bed, and then you kind of like, shit. Then like most of the private trips that we all would have, Suge and the private trips that we would be on, if our girls was with us, you know, some of his girls would come in and out, whoever he had, but Michel'le would somehow end up there on the trip. Just as I said in Cabo, she stayed there with us as well in Cabo. So they were like in a full relationship then. That's when Michel'le liked me.
So Daz made a comment and he said that he alluded to Michel'le having relations with Tupac, because he said that there's a video online of Tupac in the studio and you can see Michel'le rubbing on Tupac. How you feel about Daz saying that?
I've seen Dad say a lot of unfriendly things about people. So his credibility with something that he says doesn't stick well with me, because like he said something about me and I've never really had any encounters with him outside of working and doing great songs and wanting to work with him. And then I heard him say something about me and ranting and going off and shit like that. So could have been one of his ranting moments.
But is that far-fetched?
I think so. You're not walking around trying to fuck Suge girls. And Pac knew that was Suge's girl. Pac knew it. The people that hung around Suge knew who he's messing with. Like, just as a homie, not because he's Suge. That's off limits. That was off limits.
So that's the thing. Like, that's pretty inappropriate. Like, at that time, Suge Knight and Michel'le was messing around. And if you look at that video, she was rubbing all on the dude's chest. And
probably was. Like you know, and what was being said at the moment? They in the studio? What's being said? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see it. And Suge wifing her up, like fake wifing her up. He too prideful for that.
But I mean, she didn't have enough respect for Suge Knight not to be rubbing on Tupac.
I don't know if it was really that deep then.
Okay.
With her and Suge.
Okay, I get it. That makes
You know
sense.
what I'm saying? I think that probably could have been a little bit when it first kind of kicked off.